Hi folks, my name is Fred Jones. I'm a mechanic. Been a mechanic all my life, 36 years. Work with my hands, my body, and been pretty hard on it. And I can tell you right now, without Dr. Hilgartner, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you.
My name is Terri Jones, and I teach and train horses for a living. And the same, we get beat up by our jobs, and we're physical every day, and we definitely need Dr. Pete in our lives to help us continue our occupations.
I also like to mention that my wife does hit me, and Dr. Pete helps me with those injuries. So I remember the first time you took me to see Dr. Pete.
Mm-hmm.
So my back had blown out, and I was in pain and not being able to move around very well. And you said, "Oh, we've got to go try Dr. Pete Hilgartner." And I was like, "Well, what is he?" And you said, "He's a chiropractor." And I rolled my eyes and I said, "Listen," I said, "they tell me I need surgery. It's not going to do any good. I've been to chiropractors. It's a waste of time." And then, of course, we got to discussing, and you won, as usual, and I win. And I remember walking into the office and meeting Dr. Pete and thinking, "Wow, there's the epitome of health. Look at that guy. He looks great." And so he started asking me what my problems were, and I explained to him my back hurt, and it's been a problem all my life, and it hurt really bad, and he didn't seem to care. And it kind of irritated me, because I was like, well, that's why I'm here. Well, he didn't want to talk about my back. You remember that? He wanted to talk about, well, tell me about what went on in your life. Well, what does that have to do with my back? And we went on, and I was getting more frustrated. And finally I told him that I'd had knee surgery. You remember that?
Knee surgery and an ankle.
Yeah, and then he said, "Oh, now we're getting somewhere." And I was like, "What does that have to do with my back?" And he says, "Everything." And so we went through the history of my ankles being broken and my knee surgery, and he said, "Now I can fix you." And I looked at him and said, "How does that have to do with anything?" And he explained for an hour about how twisted I was and how bent and screwed up my back was. And I listened, and I couldn't get enough of it. And he adjusted me a couple times, and it felt good. And after going back to him for 3 or 4 weeks, I was a new man. And never did I ever believe that that would be the case. And no surgery. Of course, he always told me I was fat. And he did it in a polite way, like, "Hey, Fred, you're fat."
No, he didn't.
And yes, he did. He told me I was fat, and I needed to, and I needed to lose weight.
No, you said you were fat.
No.
He just agreed.
Okay, well, here's our argument.
He would never say that.
He is kind, but you weren't in the room.
I know.
And then he hit me.
No, he didn't.
Okay, so anyway, I think that's the first time we met him, and it was such a wonderful experience and to find someone that knew something that could help me, and it was amazing. It was amazing. I don't know what to say other than everybody I met with a bad back or hurt, you need to go see Dr. Pete. And we sent a lot of folks there, and everyone had a positive experience.
Yeah.
It was wonderful.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And he's kept us going for 14 years.
Long
So
time.
we tweak your back, or I get thrown from a horse, and we go, and he fixes us. And that's how we've been able to do our jobs and keep our income coming in, is because we do work physically with our body, and he fixes us if we torque ourselves or hurt ourselves. He's like our maintenance program. And we've been a loyal customer ever since.
Well, I don't know what I'd do without Dr. Pete. And
we first started using Dr. Hilgartner with Fred's back for about a year, and he got him up and running and functioning and still working. And I remember him coming out of the office saying to Fred, "Your wife is worse than you are, Fred." And I just was so apprehensive about chiropractic. I had had some bad experiences in the past, and I just was very afraid of it. Every time Fred got adjusted, I would cry. So I finally let Dr. Pete adjust me, and I could ride better, I could think better, I stood up better, I walked better, I walked without a limp, and from that moment on, I don't think either of us looked back in our conviction as far as this is science that we need to understand and to continue with for our occupations. Then we started getting into the nutritional part. We had been with Hilgartner Health for 10 years and hadn't really investigated the health and wellness part of it, and we decided in our 50s that we were going to go that route, and we decided.
Well, we had had a hair analysis
Correct.
from Dr. Lolin early on, and that opened our eyes hugely to the amount of chemicals that were in our body,
Metals,
and metals,
chemicals.
and how many
How many things we were fighting against nutritionally that we didn't even know. Like, we didn't know that we were so toxic in our health and how we needed to change our health. We were kind of lost as far as what do we do now. So we started with Dr. Lolin, and she guided us through the hair analysis
Right.
project, and Fred got better, and we
well,
got
I had
better.
multiple hair analysis. That's where my hair went.
Yes.
Terry's only had a few, as you can
Yes.
see. Still plenty of hair.
Yes.
But
But we figured out that was really important for our health and didn't even know it. It was another science we didn't know anything about.
right.
And we're so excited to find out there were answers as far as how do we approach this, how do we take care of it, and how do we maintain it once we understand how to get rid of the chemicals, how do we maintain our health from then on.
So recently, I was working on Dr. Lolin's car, and I stopped by their house to bring her car to her, and any excuse for me to see her. She's hot if you haven't met her yet. So anyway, I walked in, and I was talking to Lolin, and Dr. Pete had bounced down the stairs and was getting ready to go do something. I have no idea how that man manages all the things that he does. So I had a conversation with Lolin because I'd been to the doctor recently to have a physical, and they had told me that I was borderline everything, that my weight was up, that
Diabetic,
high blood pressure, everything, and I'm not one to take medicine for anything. I can't stand even taking an aspirin, so it worried me. So I mentioned it to Dr. Lolin, and she said, "Fred, you need to take our weight loss for life class." And I was like, "Yeah, I know, losing weight's going to help." She says, "No, you really need to take this class, and I insist that you do it, and I'm not taking no for an answer." And Dr. Pete walked in, and he said, "That's great." He said, "But listen," he says, "Terri needs to be on board too." And I said, "Well," I said, "if she had got to give up beer, I don't know, Doc." And he laughed, and he said, "I think she'll do it." So I went back and talked to Terri, and I was kind of excited about it because everything that they have done for us up until that point has been so positive and worked so well that I knew this had to be the answer for me, because medication was not the answer for me. And I knew, left to myself, I wasn't going to lose weight. I just had bad eating habits. So I came and talked to Terri and figured that there'd be a little bit of pushback, and there was none. She immediately said, "Let's do it." So we jumped into it, and I have to tell you that it was probably one of the, if not the most exciting experiences in my life to learn about my spiritual, emotional, and physical side of my body. And by learning those things, I didn't even concentrate on weight loss, and I concentrated on everything else. And before I knew it, I had dropped 50 pounds and not even tried, and feel so much healthier for it. My energy level is through the roof. In fact, sitting here speaking to you right now is killing me because I want to get up and go do something. I saw Dr. Pete last night. He stopped by, and we talked for a little while, And Terri had mentioned to me, and it was late, that the indoor riding arena needed to be worked on. And it was about 10 o'clock. And so Dr. Pete said goodnight and he left, and Terri and I looked at each other and said, let's go do it. In the past, that wouldn't even have been an option. We wouldn't even have considered doing it. So at 10 o'clock at night, we get out all the equipment, up to the arena we go. We work on it till almost midnight. I finished the arena, it came out beautifully. How you do anything is how you do everything. Dr. Pete taught me that if you think you've done enough, you haven't. If you think you've done more than enough, you might have gotten close. So if you adapt all these things that you learned in that class to your life and your lifestyle, it is amazing how much more productive you are, how much better you feel, how much better people around you feel. They emulate from that. And afterwards, I grabbed my son and we went to the gym and worked out till 1 in the morning, and came back home. And so this is my new life, and I'm so excited about it. And had it not been for Dr. Pete and Dr. Lolin, I'd be some fat, high blood pressure, worthless. Yeah, I mean, you know, I look around and you don't want to judge people, you really don't, but as humans, I think we all do. And I look around when I go to the grocery store now, and I look at people going, "Oh my God, you can be so much more. You know, look what's in your basket. Look what you're buying. Look what you're eating. You know, stop. You're killing yourself, and you're missing out on life." So I just can't say enough from personal experience and what I've seen, how great. Here's an interesting little side story. I had a friend, he was a young helper of mine, and he'd been to a doctor, 3 or 4 doctors, as a matter of fact, got different opinions, and they wanted to do carpal tunnel surgery on his wrists. Well, I said, well, what's going on? His name was Andy, and he told me he had loosened feelings in his hand. I was like, you know what? I'm going to take you to Dr. Pete. Well, what does Dr. Pete know? You know, 3 surgeons have told me I need this surgery. I'm telling you. No, I don't want to go. I'm paying for it. No, you're going. So he went. Come to find out, after I was giggling because Dr. Pete was running through the whole same scenario with him. Well, I don't care about your wrists. Tell me about your life story. Come to find out, Andy had had a dirt bike accident early on when he was young and had broken his collarbone. Well, it never healed right, and apparently had been putting pressure on something up there. Dr. Pete did 3 or 4 adjustments. All the feeling came back in his hands. Never had the surgery to this day, and that's been 5, 6 years ago, and he's doing great.
So during our class with Dr. Pete and Dr. Lolin, not only did we learn about weight loss and life, we also learned about nutrition. What our nutrition was, it was kind of a blind subject for us. We didn't understand a whole lot of it. We didn't know about what organic we even liked, much less to purchase. And with the class that we took with Dr. Lolin, she explained all of it so simplistically that we could go to the grocery store. We could purchase what we liked. We could organize what we liked. We could eat clean. We could
Cheetos. Can't eat Cheetos.
No, we can't eat Cheetos.
No Cheetos.
But she could put it into layman's terms where we weren't deer in headlight when we walked into a restaurant or a grocery store. So we knew that was the biggest thing for us, is we knew we needed to get healthy, but we didn't know how. So she taught us how to, and simply how to, and then how to transfer our children onto the clean eating and what to eat and how to eat and when to eat. And it made our life so much simpler and so easy that you were excited about dinner. You were excited about all of the food that you're about to eat and the food that you're about to purchase and how to prepare it and how to organize it and how to buy it. And that was a big deal for us because we would go to grocery stores and we would see it, but we didn't understand the organic part of it. We didn't understand what we were buying. We didn't know even where in the store to go to purchase what we needed. So that's what that class taught us. That's what she taught us, was the ins and outs, the whys and the how comes of how we were eating, why we were eating it, and for what nutritional basis we needed it for. And it made it simple and easy. And we were so excited when we left. The next day we went to the grocery store and it was easy. And since then, it's been easy. You don't forget about it. You change your life. You understand it, and you go on, and it makes it easier.
It's almost easier than the old way. And as a matter of fact, you look forward to preparing meals together.
Yes. You know what you're going to eat. You know what you're going to prepare. You're excited about it.
And you feel good after you eat.
You're feeding your body. You're feeding your body good food. Therefore, you have energy afterwards. There's no guilt. There's no cynicism. There's only excitement and happiness.
The funny part is, you know, when we started all that, we have a lot of close friends that gave us a hard time for embarking on this lifestyle change. And,
yeah, because we were the first ones that were like, oh my gosh, Subway came out with a new sandwich, we're getting it.
Yeah.
Domino's Pizza came out with a new pizza, we're eating it. You know, we were the worst of the junk food eaters. And you couldn't convince us that it was going to be any other way. That was, we can't wait, because we figured we worked hard enough all day long that we deserved to eat whatever we wanted to eat. And what we didn't understand was we didn't deserve to poison our bodies. Because we worked as hard, we deserved to feed our bodies the correct food so that we felt good afterwards. We never felt good after eating all of the fast food and the prepared food. And
our idea of eating healthy was eating something before the expiration date.
Right.
So no. But the funny part is all our friends would give us a hard time when we started and embarked on this and kind of throughout it. But as we started shedding the pounds and becoming more energetic and clear focused, our minds just, it opens up your mind. You're kind of in a cloud until you realize that the junk that you're eating is really affecting everything on your body. Our minds were clearer. We felt so good. Our friends started seeing a real big difference in us, and they stopped kidding us and they started watching us, and then they started asking questions. And before we knew it, they were all asking, well, you know, what do you think if I do that? Well, absolutely you need to do this. Yes. Do I think? No, you need to do that. So it's interesting how people watch you and they want to have what you have if you have good health. And it's so easy to be in good health. It's just life choices. It's the choices you make every day.
And the education from people that understand how to teach it and how to give you that information, so you have the guidelines and the path to figure it out, because we knew we were supposed to be eating correctly, we just didn't know how. And everybody knows you're supposed to be eating clean and organic, but how do you do that? What do you cut out? What do you not cut out? You know, what do you eat? What do you not eat? And that was the biggest game plan for us, is we learned that in Hilgartner Health, as far as we're gonna give you all the education you need, and you can decide if this is the path for you and go in any direction you want and choose what it is you want, and you'll be healthy whichever way you go. So that's why we're still out, 6 months out of the diet now?
Yeah.
And we're healthy, we haven't gained any weight back. We still feel good. I mean,
every now and again, we have to be truthful. We slip and we eat something that we shouldn't because it looks good, and boy, does it taste good when you eat it.
Or you're at a party, or you're at an event, and you don't want to.
Well, the sad part is, though, you feel terrible after you eat that food. And so the longer it goes, the less we even go there with that. We don't even try to eat any of that stuff. It's not worth it to feel that bad.
Yeah.
And our taste is changing. We like to eat healthy, just
clean
meats and vegetables and fruits, and you look forward to a healthy meal. What's funny about it is your body's so healthy at that point, you're not craving snacks and junk food anymore, where you kind of lived on it before.
Or look forward. That was the only thing you look forward to. Is the junk food, and you felt like you deserved it because you worked so hard, or you sacrificed so much at your job or whatever, and we could work it off. And we're the most physical probably of our generation in what we do for a living, not to mention people who sit all day long, and we were still unhealthy, we were still overweight,
Very
we were
much
still toxic in everything that we did. And so it was imperative that we got healthy, and we got healthy soon, or we weren't going to be able to sustain our occupations.
Yeah. So you ask yourself, well, why do I want to be healthy? What difference does it make? I'm doing just fine being fat and miserable. Well, let me tell you something. It's not about you. It's about what you can do for everybody else. It's about what you can do for your family, what you can do for your children. And that's what you need to be asking yourself. How can I improve my health so I can be around longer, so I can be more active, so I can give back to everyone around me? And that is an empowering, incredible feeling when you're able to do that. You can't buy that. You can't make that. You can just be that. And the only way to be that is to be healthy, to be incredibly healthy, and take care of those that are around you. And I think that's where I wanted to be healthy. I want to be around for my family. I want to be around to see my grandkids. And I want to be active with them. I don't want to be the grandpa that's on the couch, you know, that can't get up and play ball with his grandkids. I'm not that guy, and I don't think anybody really wants to be that. So being healthy and learning the nutritional values and spiritually and mentally all combined is life. And if you want to live it, that's where you need to start.
Having parents that died at 39, my father was 39 when he died of hardening of the arteries. My mother was 62 when she died of supranuclear palsy. So my daughter and my son don't have grandparents and have not really known grandparents. So having that predisposition, the DNA, I want to live longer to be there for my children, and to understand my children's predisposition from my parents, so that they live longer for their children. We all have predispositions to this or that or the other thing, but if it can be controlled just by your diet, just by knowing what it is you're putting in your mouth and how much water you're drinking and the minerals that you're eating, we can live longer. Our children can be healthier, and they need to understand that why their children need to live healthier, eat healthier, because their grandparents weren't here to teach them or to tell them. So I'm here for both of them to teach them. The next generations are, you have to prepare, you have to understand, you have to eat clean, you have to eat healthy so that you're there for your children and not let this generation die because their grandparents did.
Can I say one more thing? You know, we all seem to invest in everything in our lives but ourselves. You invest in a home, you invest in a car, you invest in a vacation, everything but yourself. Why is that? Why did we get off track there? Shouldn't that be probably the first thing you invest in? Shouldn't that be the first thing that you decide to say, okay, without this, without me, nothing else really matters. So why aren't we all investing in good health, in learning and understanding why we can't live a better life? And it's so easy. That's the amazing part. You know, I'm very lazy by nature sometimes, and it helps me become more, I don't have a word for it, incredible. You know, I call Dr. Pete and Lowland and Caleb the Incredibles. If you've ever seen the cartoon, that is them. And I think it empowers you with that. But invest in yourself.